Did you know that there were Greeks in Russia? I was in Russia a few years ago and in the Hermitage Museum in St. Petersburg, and all of a sudden there's this huge section of Greek stuff dug up in Russia. And I thought, well, I should have known that. The Black Sea, the Greeks were there. The Black Sea becomes very important, which makes those waterways to the Black Sea very important. So basically, you're going to be teaching the kids some geopolitics. Why is the Bosporus and the Dardanelles or Hellespont important? Well, that's where the ships come through bringing grain to Athens. And whoever controls that area controls the food supply to Athens. Pretty important geopolitical position. Of course, Pericles being an important leader here. The author analyzes why battles are won and lost. And it's almost like when I watch a movie and I see things going the wrong way and I want to yell at the characters on the screen, well, stop that. You kind of get that feeling with some of these generals, you know that's not going to work, guys. Why are you doing that? And sometimes you just might have leaders making really stupid mistakes. And that was the case in this rather significant battle. And if they're making stupid mistakes that cost them the battle, that's important. Yeah. I didn't hear your whole question.
Do we need to know, like, make up the phalanx, why, social order of the phalanx, all that kind of stuff?
No.
More specific to the battle itself?
Battles themselves. And if there's a major innovation, like the Macedonians made some major changes, a short question. We got a lot of geography in that question, from Attica to the Gulf of Corinth. But here we've got the Spartan army attacking Attica, the land territory of Athens, surrounding the city of Athens. What does Athens, what does the Navy do? The Navy can't go out and attack a land force. So what they come up with is the Navy will start hitting the Spartan homeland, hoping to distract them. That's a tactic. And you will discover that the Athenians made one horrible strategic and tactical mistake when they decided to go after Syracuse. It's an absolutely terrible event. The dating system, I don't know what you're finding in the new textbooks. I've been out of the game for 4 years. I think you've adopted new social studies books. I use the system BCE and CE. I always told the students they could use whatever they wanted, as long as they were consistent. So I am consistently using before the Common Era and the Common Era. I did have a student come back to tell me that a college professor put those up on the board, and you know how those college professors sometimes think of us, and told the students, well, you never learned this in high school. And my student told me what they meant. I told the student, well, I hope you're happy getting a B in that course. But I will be consistent on that. I also put the answers in alphabetical order. You know where students think that C is always the correct answer? And if you actually write questions on just straight writing them, you discover C frequently is the right answer, and D is always terribly wrong because you're trying to think of another answer. I put them in alphabetical order. Tell the students not to play that game. Sometimes the practice questions are actually a little harder because I go through and weed out the ones I don't like. Sometimes they're more detailed, and sometimes they're just plain designed to be practice questions. They have topics that you have to look up. Okay, here's a heads up, particularly for young teachers, on the issues of sexuality in the text. Now, I taught Greek history for over 37 years about A third of those years, someone always wants to know if Alexander the Great is gay. Questions are asked, down in Lesbos. Okay, here's your answer. In this Greek society, men ran it, and they were free. There will be references to the sexual freedom that the men had. The men controlled the women in their family. They controlled the male and female slaves. They controlled the young men. They controlled everybody. And you will have the word courtesan, which I'm assuming a lot of high school students will not know. But they did not have. The Greeks had no word for homosexual or heterosexual. They had no concept for sexual preference. Their basic idea was that an individual would have both hetero and homosexual responses at different times in their life. So when the questions are asked, there's a bad answer. If the students want to know more, there are all kinds of sources they can go to. We're not going to have questions dealing with much of this, but I think that's a very safe and a very accurate answer. I don't know what kind of responses you'll get. There are always some crazy people out there that think kids have never heard of sex before. And then, of course, there's the kid who's like, they invented it. But that's the city of Thebes. Only the city of Thebes. Where they don't have a word for it. But the sacred band of 300 were homosexual pairs. Yes. And that is referenced in one of the books. Yeah, I've got it on there. This is what's in the books. I have been to the city in Italy, Macedonia, and there are some pictures from a banquet there which has a sexual context to it, but the pictures have no reference to that. I don't think you'll have a kid ask questions about that. A very brief reference to the sacred band of 300. And in Lords of the Sea, the sexual freedom that Greek males had, and the behavior of certain individuals. And there is a little section on sexual euphemisms. The author's trying to make the point that everything the Greeks did was related to the ocean, and even their sexual euphemisms were related to sea animals. And this Alcibiades is accused of desecrating the sacred phallic pillars of Athens. If you've been to Pompeii or some other areas in the Mediterranean, you know there's a lot of phallic symbols around these cities. You might have to define that word and figure it out. But that's basically the only thing I think you might have anybody question about. And if you're a young teacher, first-year teacher, and you have questions, ask for help from older people, so that you don't get caught by surprise. Now, I can do this program again for you, but I will not do it for less than 3 schools. I won't do it for one single school. That would raise some questions. And I won't do it for kids. I miss kids, but this is basically a coach's presentation. You can contact the Principals Association if you would like to do it. And there's our title in Greek. And I have absolutely no idea how to say that. Any questions?